Yeah.
All the way.
No, yeah.
And like this.
What have I had it before? Okay,
That's
for full
18,
out.
10. Yeah.
So we can talk like that.
There you go.
There we go. So, great place to take some photographs.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody. So, here we are in the middle of the woods by a beautiful lake, and we're going to have a chat about...
The Mandela Effect, actually.
Okay, a good place to talk about that.
Yes, it's eerie.
Yeah, eerie and a bit spooky here, actually, today. And as we show this, we'll show a few of the shots that Dominico's taken here today, if you're interested in his photography channel.
So, we had a long list.
Right.
Center Parks, although it doesn't look like.
No, it looks like we're actually in the middle of it looks like we're in the middle of Siberia or something here, doesn't it, really?
If you look around, you can see that we're basically near a little lake. It's right behind us, and it's like we are in the middle of nowhere in a forest.
Yeah, and we got up really early for you this morning. This is about 4 o'clock in the morning we're talking to you now.
It's eerie today, we got a lot of fog.
Yeah.
And it gives a nice
I think
feeling.
it's a nice setting, isn't it, for what we're going to talk about.
And yes, that's going to be the best weather to discuss about the Mandela Effect. I was telling you the last.
So you were telling me about the Mandela Effect. I know a bit about it, but just give us a little overview of what you think we're talking about here.
It's not what I think, but
well, what the idea is of it. Yeah.
What the Mandela Effect is. It's called the Mandela Effect based on how some people are remembering that Mandela died in jail during the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. Which, of course, he didn't.
Well,
allegedly.
For the current history says that Mandela actually became the president of South Africa, and then he died of old age in 2013. Mm-hmm. A lot of people remember that he died in jail. Myself, I remember that I studied when I was in primary school. Yeah. I studied history, and we're talking about the end of the 80s, so that's why I remember it.
Yeah.
That he actually died in jail.
So a lot of people think that he died a long time ago, rather than when the news said it does.
In fact, this effect started the moment in 2013 when Mandela was declared dead.
Yeah.
A lot of people started to look on the web because they remember that he died in the 80s in jail. And they found out that all the million of people out there...
So what makes it strange is that millions of people have the same misconception
but the Mandela
that he died a long, long time ago when he didn't.
The Mandela Effect is not only about Mandela. It's called Mandela Effect just because Mandela is the biggest name over all the other stories. But I don't know if you remember... There was a comic book or a storybook for children called the Berenstain Bears.
Okay, yeah, I did hear about it. Yeah.
Everybody remembers that it was with an E.
Yeah.
Berenstain, so Berenstain German. But it actually was with an A.
Yeah.
If you take the book today, it's with an A. But a lot of people remember it with an E.
I know. And there's the other one, because I did look it up, the Monopoly Man.
There is the Monopoly Man.
Now, does he have a monocle or not? You know, think about it. Does he have a monocle? I always remember him with a monocle.
Me too. Yeah. But then if you look at it, surprise of the surprise, as you can see...
There's no monocle there. Okay, there's some pictures of it, right?
So you can see the picture now.
Yeah.
But then the other point was even like a movie with a famous actor about a genie.
Oh, this was the one, this was Sinbad the Sailor, wasn't it?
It was Kazam, and then people say that you're confusing with Shazam, that there is Shaquille O'Neal in it.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember that there was a movie made by this other person about a genie called Kazam.
Yeah. So what are people saying? So are people saying there's something happened to reality, or are they thinking this is mass hysteria?
There are hundreds of different theories about it. The most common between the people that believe in the Mandela Effect is that they believe that there has been a time in our story in which two parallel universes have connected to each other.
Yeah.
And that not the soul, but the consciousness swapped from one universe to the other.
So they're talking about multiverses. This could be a human experience of the multiverse, that we could be living in multiple
But this has been proven by science. There are multiple universes that live on the same level.
Yeah.
And these multiple universes have a slight different from each other.
Yeah.
Like in another universe, I might be the CEO of IBM.
Yeah.
Or I might be Batman. And if you're Batman in another universe, stay Batman.
Yeah. Good idea.
But we do have this theory of the multiverse.
Yeah, multiple layers of reality. Also, what a guy called Doon said in an experiment with time, that time works, this is before the idea of the multiverses came up in the 1930s, that time has these multi-layers, serial time.
This idea comes from even before that time. Science just confirmed that exists.
Yeah.
We do have multiple universes that are living on the same level at different times, different universes, and somehow it could explain the theory about ghosts. That mostly because there is a multiverse.
It's a time slip.
Yes.
Okay. Because I've had a lot of people write to me about time slips when I wrote my articles in the Scottish Daily Record. Now, whether all the Scots are suddenly into this idea of time slips, but this was writing back before the internet was around.
Yes.
You know, and before people were into this idea, you know, sharing ideas and sort of misconceptions and fake news being propagated.
Yes.
But people were talking from their own personal experience in isolation, writing to me ideas that sometimes they flick through time, seeing things from the past, or suddenly found themselves in another time zone.
There are other stories that are going around of people that went to visit their old city where they were born and grew in the States, and they ended up all of a sudden in a city that wasn't theirs. The number were correct on the street names were correct, but the buildings, the shops were all different, the people were different.
Yeah.
To then come back out, like leave the place and then come back after time and everything was back to normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
there's been cases also in Versailles. In the Palace of Versailles, people have been walking around the gardens of Versailles. Suddenly everybody's in costume, but there's nothing being filmed. There's no costume event going on. And this is going back actually before they filmed it. All the Versailles series and things.
We do have a lot of these things about the multi-universe, but let's keep on the Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
The other theory, the psychologist theory, the psychiatrist theory, is that it's just a misconception. Our brain, for the memories, our brain works like a puzzle. We do not have memory that will be a photographic memory. Like in our brain, we have a picture of our past, but we have little puzzle pieces. These puzzle pieces, our brain puts them together when we start to remember.
We fill the gaps.
And then the brain fills the gap. It remembers, for example, that in your old bedroom when you were a child, there was a lamp on your desk. But it can't remember which lamp. So it just fills
But that doesn't actually correspond, because we don't know how memory works. Because I know under hypnosis, people can remember things that they didn't consciously remember. I think what we're seeing here is we get a snapshot of reality, but our actual unconscious mind remembers the lot. But we only have a conscious memory of a certain amount.
The unconscious mind does remember a lot, and we have proofs on which people can remember things happening in the real long time ago past.
Yes, yeah.
But for our memories, we want to remember without the help of hypnosis or these things.
Yeah.
We're filling up the gaps. Our brain fills up the gap. There was a lamp on my desk when I was a child, but I don't remember which lamp it was.
Yeah.
My brain fills up with a lamp.
So it's quite likely that people collectively could have misconceptions. Now, go back to that Monopoly man, right? I thought he had a monocle. But then the typical capitalist, if you look at pictures of Russian posters, for example, of a capitalist, they always have a top hat, the stripy banker's trousers, and a monocle. So it's not my brain kind of filling in that, hey, the Monopoly man does have a monocle because my memory is so fallible.
Because he was dressed like the person that dressing that way has a monocle. So your brain could think, well, that Monopoly man has a monocle. Actually doesn't.
Like if we saw a clown without a red nose, we'd immediately fill it in, and we think that clown had a red nose if someone asked us about it again.
Yes.
You know, if it was one of the Italian piccolo sort of ones that doesn't have the red nose, we'd probably stick it on them, as it were. You know.
And if you think that's not the only thing that happened, there are a lot of other Mandela effects, as they call them, that are coming out today. People that remember about Pokemon in a different way that what they know.
So is today. To me, it strikes me more than the change of reality. It strikes me as a kind of a false memory syndrome.
It could be a false memory syndrome, but then the question is, how come millions of people around the world that do not have any connection with each other? Yeah. Plus, they never saw this thing. Like, for example, when Mandela died in 2013, that I was like, didn't he die in the 80s?
See, when I remember when Mandela was still in prison, and I was at that time doing some work for an insurance company, and they said, they've changed the road in Liverpool to something road to Mandela Road. And we said, we don't like the idea of this Mandela Road because, I mean, they were a bit prejudiced, you know, some black guy's road. I think we ought to move the offices they were talking about, you know. So it stuck in my mind that Mandela was very well and alive at that time, in my experience.
But the thing is that I remember clearly that I studied at school about Mandela and how he died in jail.
Yeah, did you?
That's the other thing.
Well, your assumption he died, because I remember he was in jail a long time.
He has been more than 23 years.
Yeah, he seemed forever to be in jail, you know. And Winnie Mandela was, of course, out in the banks doing things. And you would assume that you could assume she's sort of a widow, couldn't you?
Yeah. But then there is another theory that I find it funny, but somehow it could be, you know, if you are into the unknown, if you are into the mystery, this theory might be the one that appeal you the most.
Yeah.
And the Mayan Calendar was talking about the end of the war.
Yeah.
The 21st of December, 2012, right? Nothing happened. We're still alive.
Yeah.
But what if the Mayan calendar wasn't talking about the end of the world as we know it? Like
it was the end of that sort of loop in reality.
Exactly. And that the two universe then swooped together in that moment.
And
in that moment, it was the end of
some
that universe.
Twist happened to things. I'll tell you, I know we're going to keep to this theory, but there's one that really fascinates me that goes back a long time. There's a philosopher called Nietzsche. You heard of Nietzsche? Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Well, Nietzsche or Nietzsche, I don't know quite where Hitler was into him and things like that as well, I remember. But Nietzsche believed in this idea of eternal recurrence, that we actually live our life over and over again, and it changes just in slight ways. So maybe I've lived this reality once before, but in the last reality, the Monopoly man had a monocle, but in this reality, and his idea was you don't reincarnate, you just come back to the start again, relive this life, and it changes slightly. And he used it as a philosophical idea, you know, if you're comfortable and you can accept, you've got acceptance. Is this life hell or is this life heaven? It's a way of deciding in your mind if life is hell or heaven, you see. So it was a philosophical idea. It kind of fits in a bit with this Mandela effect. So what do you think, in conclusion then?
But, hold on, it doesn't end there. You said about we relive our life with this slight little change.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you're not living your life from the beginning, but just from a specific point? Imagine, like in a video game, you're going over and over in the levels, then you die because something happened, and you restart from that level.
Yeah.
You're not starting from the beginning. So what if life is just, we got thousands of universes all interconnected to each other. In one universe you die, so your conscience is automatically transponded or moved or swapped to another universe from which you start from the point where you died.
True, it's another way of looking at it. Another thought, I used to puzzle about this a lot, is the idea that supposing there was all these millions of universes, so if the universe was then infinite, there was no finiteness to the universe, it went on and on forever. Everything that happens has happened. Not only once, but it's happened an infinite number of times in an infinite number of ways. So there's an infinite number of you and me talking now, and an infinite number of people watching now, all simultaneously having every possible combination. There could be one where we're wearing rabbit ears or something.
But I believe that the best number of people, that the best people are in this universe, clicking the thumbs up and the subscribe button.
Yeah, and then maybe there's an infinite number of you out there at the moment ready to press that key.
The Patreon button.
The Patreon button, yes. So there we go. There's some interesting thoughts there. I don't think we've come to any full conclusion about the idea of the Mandela
Let's see what
effect.
they think. What the viewers think.
What do you think? I mean, do you think there's a Mandela effect? Is it a twist of the memory? Is the multi-universes? I mean, we'll talk about this again because there's so much.
We're going to continue now. We're just going to move in some more comfortable place.
Yeah. We might better get a couple of episodes out of this one. But anyway, do remember to subscribe to this channel and you'll get all sorts of ideas like this. And if you become a patron, you can get all this stuff early on and other little clips and outtakes and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time. Bye for now.